and welcome to this new video of self-development. And the topic of today's video is going to be never look back. We're going to talk about the wisdom and the advice from Kevin O'Leary. For those of you who don't know it, Kevin O'Leary is a Canadian businessman who is very famous for hosting the shows, the venture capital shows, Shark Tank and Dragon's Den. He's the one who launched this fashion of venture capital shows, and he was really a pioneer in that business. And he's also the author of several awesome books that I of course recommend, and I also recommend you to check out his YouTube channel. He posts a lot of interesting videos. Now that you know what you have to know, let's dive in. Lesson number 1, never look back. And let me take the exact quote from Kevin O'Leary. He says in his books, "The mark of a true entrepreneur is that when one venture folds or fails, you move on to another. You never stop. You never look back." Well, there he talks about being an entrepreneur, but I think that this quote and this concept can be applied to our personal lives. Because what happens is that very often someone experiences something painful and they are always looking back. They dwell on that negative past experience, and as a result, they do nothing. They let the fear of being hurt again hijack their emotions and hijack their actions, basically. The typical example of that are people who are trying to put their own businesses. The thing is, when you try to put your own business, is that the first attempt is usually a flat-out failure. And the other problem is that most people, they give up after the first attempt. They just dwell on that first negative experience forever, basically. They don't stop looking back. And what they should do instead is, like Kevin O'Leary says, never look back. Just say, okay, it failed, but I learned a lot from this experience, and the next time I try, it will be much better. I will be much better and much closer to my goals. A real life example of that I would like to share with you, that I find is very inspiring, is the founder of KFC, the Colonel Sanders. And his story is really interesting. He decided to put his own business when he retired, when he received his first social security check. He realized that actually social security was not going to give him a very nice way of living, so he decided to just put on his own business at 65. Imagine that. Everybody around him telling him, okay, grandpa, stop with this. Just stop disturbing us with your stories. Just settle down. But he said, no. I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna put my own business because I want to have a better living than what I'm getting right now. And I can't remember now the exact figure, but I think he was turned down by restaurants more than 2,000 times. 2,000 times the owner of a restaurant told him, no, we're not interested by your recipe and your special sauce. We don't want to know anything about it. But despite that, he continued. He was driving all the time, trying to propose his sauce and his recipe to every restaurant he knew, until finally he got the first yes, it became a success, then he put his first franchise, and so on. So you see that the guy at 65, he tries to put his own business, he fails at the first moment, he fails 2,000 times, but he never gives up, he never looks back. And that is what you should do with your personal life, no matter what your goal is. The second lesson from Kevin O'Leary is choose your business partners wisely. Well, here, of course, O'Leary talks about business partners, but I think that can be applied also to your personal partners. So that is friends, romantic partners, and so on. But here, let's see what Kevin says about business partners. He says that the most important characteristic of a successful business partnership is that your partner compensates for your weaknesses and your shortcomings. Your business partners also have skills that you lack, that you do not possess. And so you minimize as much as possible the overlap between you and your business partners. And it's very difficult to find somebody with whom you don't have a lot of overlap, because most of the people that we know around us, well, likes attracts like. So more likely than not, they have a similar personality to you, they have more or less the same skills, the same knowledge, and so on. because most likely than not, you know all these people from college, high school, and that kind of places. So it's always very difficult to find good business partners where you don't have a lot of overlap, but you have to keep looking until you find that perfect partner. Let's take a hypothetical example. Imagine two guys who study engineering, and it turns out they have a lot of imagination and they want to manufacture a product and sell it online. As I said at the beginning, those two guys have an engineering background and they studied the same. So that means that they basically have the same skills, knowledge, and so on. So they will run into problem because when you want to run a business and launch a product, not only do you need engineering and manufacturing, but you also need accounting, for example, marketing, selling, and so on. So here they will run into problems because not only they will be weak on the other aspects and other departments that I mentioned, but they will also very likely disagree on engineering issues. So here you see, there it doesn't look like an ideal partnership because the overlap is just too big and there's just too much sources of conflict. So what I should do there, according to Kevin O'Leary, is that one of them says, all right, I'm pretty good at presentation and selling and so on, so I will take everything that is about the marketing, closing, and so on. And the other one says, I'm very meticulous and very good with the numbers, so I will take more the accounting part and so on, and really develop these kind of skills. Skills that do not overlap, skills that are not conflicting. So here you see how to solve this skill problem and overlap problem according to Kevin O'Leary. Lesson number 3, focus on interpersonal skills, not on academic achievements or superficial titles. Well, I took this quote right exactly as it is written in the book. So I will maybe explain it a little bit because it can be misunderstood when it is taken out of context like this. What Kevin O'Leary says here is not that theoretical knowledge is completely useless. He went to university himself. So that is not what he's saying. Okay, theoretical knowledge is really important, but it's not enough. Theoretical knowledge alone will not give you a lot. And that is really a big concept because today's societies and with the education system we have, we think that theoretical knowledge is 100% of the game. And many people, including myself, not so long ago, think that just because you get a master's degree, an MBA, a PhD, once you get it, you can say, all right, I put the fingers on the table, I put the feet on the table right now, I don't need to learn anything anymore in my life, I will become rich just because of that little paper I received. Well, people who think like this, and myself not so long ago, are bound to a very rude awakening. Because it turns out that theoretical knowledge alone is not enough. As you can see here on this little triangle, to master anything, you need, yes, theoretical knowledge, but you also need a mindset and skills. Mindset is simply the way you think. It's your master system if you saw my previous videos, and it will determine how you approach the subject and how you will address the challenges that you will encounter in your way. Well, knowledge is simply classroom knowledge, and then comes skills. Skills are the know-how, the practical know-how that is built by real-life experience. By real-life experience on the field, if you will. I know it sounds very abstract, so let me give you an example. I am a big aviation enthusiast and I actually made my private pilot license. And there, when I was doing the training for that license, I really could see the triangle I mentioned earlier in action. Well, of course, during the training I had theoretical classes and I had to pass theoretical exams, but at the end of the day, I could have done an entire PhD about aeronautics. Without practice, I would not know how to fly a plane, even with that PhD. Really practice, so developing the skill, is what made me learn how to fly a plane. And yes, mindset and theoretical knowledge are necessary. They are the way so that you acquire the skill much faster. So remember, always focus on skills. Coming back to Kevin O'Leary and entrepreneurship, he talks about interpersonal skills. So you can have a PhD from the best business school on the planet, but at the end of the day, if you lack the interpersonal skills, such as closing skills, negotiation skills, presentation skills, pitch skills, and so on, you won't go very far. So remember always, good interpersonal skills trump academic achievements, always. So that's it for the wisdom of Kevin O'Leary. Of course, there are many other things we can learn from this man. If he is called by everyone Mr. Wonderful, that's for a reason. So, of course, I highly encourage you to read his book, Cold Hard Truth. The link is in the description, and also to check out his YouTube channel and his other books. I didn't read them yet, but he's made also many other incredible books. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something from it. If you have a question or a story you want to share with us, do not hesitate to put it in the comments down below, or you can send it directly to my email address. And I will see you soon for a new video. In the meantime, take care.